Hi, my name is Sabrina Phillips. I'm the CEO and founder of RX for Success. I've been a business developer and strategist for over 30 years now. And one of the ways in which I help my clients is overcoming mindset issues or limiting beliefs. And today, I'd really like to talk to you about something and encourage you to let you know that your past does not predict your future. We're going to talk about how to overcome disappointments and setbacks today in a really positive way. And I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the ones that I've experienced, and maybe that will ring true for you as well. But so we've all had setbacks. You might actually be even going through some sort of a transition, or what you would consider a setback or a disappointment, large or small. Maybe you're going through a divorce or a career transition and you don't know what's next, or even what you want next. And so it could be actually even something traumatic. I mean, seriously, that you've really had to deal with, whether that's recent or maybe something from your childhood, or a dysfunctional family that you came from that, promoted and provoked maybe negative thinking. And so I just want to let you know, you are not alone. We all have stuff to get over. And that's why I love to work with my clients in all realms of life, all the different areas. There's like 12 different areas of life. And we like to touch on each of those to stay balanced. But I just want to let you know that you're certainly not alone. We all have and have had setbacks, some very, very serious setbacks that we didn't expect. But, the thing is that we can change all of that. We change that through some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today in this video. Because you can stay stuck. You can, in the past, stay stuck with that. Or you can kind of stay stuck and drag it around, reminding yourself, beating yourself up about who you are, who you think you are, or who the world thinks you are, what you're capable of doing, or rather maybe in this case, not doing, maybe not being able to accomplish. Or you can decide to let it go. You can decide to look at those things as lessons, something that happened for us and not to us. And I'll be the first to tell you that I have had some very, very tough lessons, some very hard lessons. And mind you, when I was going through them, I didn't see them as lessons. I saw them as huge setbacks, disappointments, things I honestly didn't know if I could actually get over, and that I was going to actually make it through. So I just want to say, if you're going through something or have gone through something, that you can understand that. I mean, I'd love to see your post down below, and let me know. I'd love to reply to all my the comments down below. So, but there is a way to overcome it, and I have had the fortunate perspective, I guess, as a kid, and I encourage you to do this as well, to see the things that were happening to me, so to say, as things that were happening for me. In other words, I took those things and I was like, well, what was I supposed to learn from them? That's kind of the idea of taking lemons that life hands you sometimes, right, and make lemonade with it. And so I have had this kind of innate desire to look at life like that. And again, I'm going to reiterate, I've really been through the ringer on a few things as a child, and growing up, and even as an adult, of course. So we can look at those things as something that we came here to experience, actually, to understand and to grow from. And that's the most important thing, is like that lemons and the lemonade thing. How do we use some of the setbacks that we have, some look at it, been handed, some look at it as came here to experience, as something to actually grow from. And I'll talk to you about it in here just a second here. But one of the things that I really, like is the statement that says pain is actually inevitable, but suffering is a choice. So we can choose to continue to drill ourselves with all of this pain and suffering of our past and things that have happened to us or something somebody did to us or whatever. And I'm not saying they're not painful. It's just the suffering part of it. That decision that you need to make. Am I going to stay literally stuck in the past, drag it around with me, continue to beat myself up with that, or beat them up with it too? Because a lot of this could be blaming others as well. And yet it's our responsibility to get it out of our head and not let it hold us back, right? So how do we do that? Yeah, I just looked at a note here I wrote. I just had a few notes I just wanted to touch base on. It says, that I wrote down that, these can be a lesson or a life sentence, but you get to choose. So, what are you going to choose to do with that? So one of the things that came up today at a business meeting that I was at was when we're in some sort of pain or transition or unknowingness about ourselves and our life, what's one of the things that we can do in order to overcome it? Well, first, I already mentioned, you're going to look at that issue that came up. You're going to look at that experience that came up for you, no matter how hard it is, and you're going to say, okay, what can I learn from this? What's the positive part of this? I'll tell you one of my things that I went through. I lost a baby at 7 months along, and it was devastating, of course. And yet, shortly after going through that, as a matter of fact, I was actually still in the hospital. I thought, what's the positive from this? And maybe I've taken the making lemonade out of lemons thing and just really used it as a coping mechanism even. I mean, I was so distraught, obviously, over losing that child that I immediately went into, okay, what's good about this? And the very next question was I supposed to learn something from this? And my answers that came up were quite incredible. Due to an issue that the baby had that we didn't know about. The positive part of it, unfortunately, the positive part of it though was that I could have carried that baby full term, and if that baby would have lived, she most likely would have been in a wheelchair for her entire life. And a vegetable. I mean, like, not really capable of having a quality of life. And I thought, well, gosh, what a blessing, because, this world is tough as it is. And, I'm sure she would have still been, a really great blessing to our family. But I don't know that I would see somebody go through life like that, incapable of maybe communicating or eating on their own or taking care of themselves. So I saw that actually as a plus and as a blessing to her, that she didn't have to really go through life like that. There were other positives that came up for me as well. I'm trying to think of what they were, but I remember thinking, okay, and what is the lesson? Was there something I'm supposed to take from this? And not to blame myself. I didn't do anything wrong or anything like that. I was taking folic acid. I was eating right and everything. But was there any underlying lesson to this? And for me, there was. I was working a lot. I mean, probably 60 to 80 hours a week, and at least, in raising my 2 kids at the time with my husband. And it was too much. And I was constantly stressed. I mean, really stressed. This is exactly one of the reasons that I talk with my clients and myself about living a balanced life, about paying attention to those 12 different areas of life, not 12 different areas of life every single day. But, there are certain specific ones that we do need to pay attention to every day. And you do it already. You may not even know it. You probably hit on at least about 6 of those in a day. So, but my balance was, I was not balanced. There was no balance whatsoever. And I was running 90 to nothing. And the message for me was, you need to slow down. And I'd gotten a little hint of that, by the way, before with something else that had happened, and I didn't pay attention. And then this came along, and I didn't pay attention. I did pay attention, but oddly enough, within the year after that, because I was running, honestly, from the pain, so trust me, I truly do understand this is not the only painful thing I've had happen at all. But I was running from the pain, so I ran and I just made my business way bigger within a year. Doubled it, actually almost tripled my business within a year. So when I notice for myself, and maybe you can relate to this, when painful things happen for me, I get into go mode. I'm like, okay, what can I do? I stop. It's so funny. My mom's like, you need to slow down and smell the flowers. And I'm like, well, I am smelling the flowers. I'm just smelling them at a much faster rate than most people. So, but to her point, I really, needed to and have learned how to, and still have to remind myself to slow down and smell the flowers, and also get the lesson from what it was I experienced. If we go through something really rough and we don't stop to check it out and go, what was that about exactly? It will repeat over and over and over and over again until you get it, or until you die, because, we all know people are just like, God, they keep doing the same thing, the same stuff keeps coming up for them, but they don't learn the lesson, and they're not stopping long enough to really examine themselves and examine if there's something within them that's continuing to call that experience to them, or create that experience. That's usually the biggest one. Some of us are addicted to drama and we don't even know it, so that there are things that happen in our lives that constant drama, maybe the same kind of drama, could be a different kind of drama. We see this in relationships. We see it with finances. There's just different things that really trigger us and can create some major drama in our lives. So we want to be really cognizant, aware, mindful of what our triggers might be. And, I'll tell you, those triggers are going to have been set up as when we were children. And so a lot of the stuff that you have probably investigated, thought about, looked at for yourself, you thought, wow, yeah, I had that same kind of experience like when I was growing up, or my mom was like this, or my dad was like this, and I kind of maybe learned that trait from them, or my family was really crazy and it was always hectic, chaotic, and so now I'm always creating this hectic, chaotic life in some fashion or form, whether it's in my relationships or it's at my work or within my finances or something like that. If we come from a lack mentality family, we're quite likely to create lack in our own lives, because that's what we know to be true. There's not enough, right? So, those are just a few examples. I could talk about this stuff all day long, about the ways that we trip ourselves up and hold ourselves back. And so what we have to do is we have to overcome the experiences, the trauma, the setbacks, the limiting belief systems that we might have been raised with and or created for ourselves, where we don't maybe really believe in ourselves, or we don't believe in the God that's, that God's got our back, or that life is working for us and not just happening to us. These are all belief systems that we need to investigate again and see, who are we? Where do we come from? Where did this belief, where did this feeling about who I am, or this knowledge about who I am, come from? And more importantly, is it true? So every time you come up against something with yourself that you're thinking, I can't do that, that's impossible, that'll never happen, I'll never win, life is not working for me, ask, is it true? Is that true about me? Is that true about life? Is that true about that person? Let's say, if you're talking about somebody else, is that true? Do I really know? So those are some ways in which to overcome past or current even setbacks and issues going on in your life. I have something else that's in the back of my mind right now, but another way, of course, is to work with affirmations. If you're having a hard time overcoming, there's a lot of different tools in the toolbox that I use for my clients and I use for myself on a daily basis. So this is, we're all a work in progress. And so one of the tools that I use are affirmations for myself and for my clients. If you are walking in to give a presentation and your mind is going, I totally suck at giving presentations, or I hate it, or it scares the heck out of me, or whatever, any of those, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm such a fraud. I can't believe they hired me for this job and now they want me to speak in front of people. I hate speaking in front of people. All of that stuff, not going to set you up well to be standing up there and giving any kind of presentation whatsoever. So the way to flip that is to flip those statements, say, I'm incredible at speaking. I love public speaking. People need to hear what I'm going to say, and people want to hear what I'm going to say. And just whatever it is negative that you're saying about yourself, you need to, I used to do this. I used to just throw up a red stop sign in my head and go, stop, flip it. And whatever the statement, the negative statement is, find the very opposite positive statement for that. And trust me, I guarantee that positive statement is more the truth about you than the negative statement that your ego mind is trying to drill down through you. Our ego mind is that lovely little piece of us that tries to keep us safe. Some of us are more afraid of public speaking than others. Obviously, I have no issue with it whatsoever. But I do when I sing. I'm a singer. And so when I get up on stage and I'm singing jazz or soul or, maybe classic rock, it just depends on the band that I'm in at the time. I was scared to death for years. And it took me, and it was probably until about 6 years ago, it just dawned on me. I'm like, people are here to be entertained. They're not thinking you're nervous. They're thinking you love what you do. But what was happening for me is in my monkey mind, my ego mind was going, oh my God, what if you forget the words? What if you jack up? What if you sing the wrong note? What if somebody doesn't like you? And I'm like, I'm telling you something, in 30 years, nobody, or plus 30, whatever years, nobody has ever come up to me and said, you really suck at that. And I think you should probably quit. So anyway, and the funny thing is I have jacked up many times when I'm singing, and I sang the wrong words, and I don't usually sing the wrong note, but my mind thinks that I might, But what it's trying to do is it sees that event as a threat, and it goes, oh, you probably shouldn't do this. Play safe, play safe, play safe. Don't get on stage, because, you might forget the words. Don't get up there and speak, because, everybody's probably looking at you like, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about, or he doesn't know what he's talking about, or, he said that wrong, whatever. And it sees that event as a threat to you. And the main job of the ego mind is to keep you safe. Well, you're completely fine on stage. Okay. And so many of the events or circumstances in which your mind is trying to make you play safe is really nothing. It has no business talking to you even. So what you need to do is you need to turn the volume up on the other side, okay? And turn up the volume and, let yourself know everything's going to be fine. Do some deep breathing that clears the mind. It clears the soul. And this is great for like, if you're really, like at this point in time in life, you're going through something that is nerve-wracking and you don't know how to deal with it. Breathing deeply is like the first thing you should do. Get a lot of oxygen to your head so you can think clearly, so that your muscles and everything, blood flow is working well, the heart, doesn't palpitate. Breathe more, breathe more, breathe more, breathe more. You can also try meditation if you're going through something now, or you're just needing to clear your mind and focus and think, kind of settle into what it is that's going on in your life, or what it is you need to get over, whether it's limiting belief or whatever it is. But meditation works very well. I listen to calming music like all day long. It's like a focused binaural beat type of music on my computer. And it's very calm, but it helps me stay focused too. And these are all ways in which to calm the nervous system, because really and truly, when you think about it, you look at everything that we're exposed to on a daily basis. Maybe your life isn't quite like mine, but I feel like constantly barraged with emails, the internet, social media, calls from clients, texts from clients, more emails from clients and salespeople, and I don't even watch TV anymore. I stopped watching the news like 30 years ago because it made me nervous. I have evidently a fairly a delicate nervous system or something, I don't know, but I also don't want to hear bad news all the time, and that's all that's on the news. And I love to call, CNN is constantly negative news, or what is it, NPR is negative public radio. And so I'm like, I don't want to hear, that kind of stuff. Well, now I've even taken TV really pretty much out of my life, because it's a distraction and not usually all that entertaining, although there are some things I watch on Netflix, or I might watch a movie or something like that on Amazon or Netflix. But, and because we all need entertainment. That's one of our 12 areas of life. We need downtime. We need to, relax. But I, just personally prefer to do that through, a walk or biking or swimming or something like that, and just kind of, hanging out with friends, just get some downtime that way. My point in saying that, though, was, I just went off a tangent with something else. But I'll come back around to that. Whatever that thought was. But anyway, so we need to use these ways: the breathing, meditation. You could journal about some of the stuff that's, if you've got enough time between, like what's happening now and what's about to happen. If you're getting ready to get up on stage, you may not have enough time to journal. But these are good things to do in order to really understand yourself better and talk to yourself in a much more kinder, compassionate way. I think it's one of the biggest things that's missing from our society now. I was talking about the barrage of, stuff, actually is what it was, coming at us. And all of that shakes our nervous system. And even I get caught up in the what I should do, what I could do, what I wish I could do if I just had another 24 hours in my day. And I have put a request in for that, but I have not heard anything back on it. And so if you feel like you're getting, barraged, well, your nervous system is getting hit all the time. And that's another thing that can trigger us and jolt us back into the past and go, oh yeah, I remember this feeling, and that we talk about the addiction to a certain feeling or the other, that could be one of them. And I know I've certainly experienced it. My mom had a pretty nervous system, like a delicate nervous system. And, I probably inherited some of that from her. And so those are things for you to be aware of, that you can go, okay, how do I calm myself down, and what do I need? And for me, the music during the day works, really well while I'm working. When I'm not working, journaling, getting out and getting some exercise, really helps with that. But what I want to really deliver here for you is that whatever has happened in your past, even if it's recent past, does not need to go forward with you, and you don't need to think, oh, well, that's what always happens. That's what will always happen. I liken it to something that I realized many years ago. I had a company, and I will reopen this. It's a nonprofit company called Lotus International. And the way I came up with the name is I was getting my coaching certifications. I have 5 different coaching certifications. I was getting those in like 2000, as when I started with my coaching certifications. And I thought, I really want to open this other company, but I don't, they're like this nonprofit to help kids and entrepreneurs, do great things with their life. And so I thought, well, what am I going to name it? And I was sitting there out by my pool, actually, and I thought, Lotus. I'm like, Lotus? I'm like, well, where did that come from? And immediately my mind, and I don't normally work like this, but I heard it come through me or to me, whatever it was, leading others to unparalleled success. Lotus. And I was like, wow. That was just like, bam. It just hit me so strong. Well, what was really cool about it is I had built a koi pond, a pretty large koi pond with a waterfall and the koi fish in it, and the lotus flowers, and they would come up, of course, every spring. I'm from the Midwest, and that's where I lived at the time. And so I loved that koi pond, and like lotus flower garden is the other part of it. And I thought, I wonder what made that come to my mind, that I would name that Lotus, and that it would be leading others to unparalleled success. So I started researching like immediately, pulled out my iPad, and I'm like looking at Lotus, and what's the significance of it? Is there any kind of a meaning behind it? Is there any kind of a spiritual connotation to it at all? Boy, I couldn't stop researching. And I want you to liken yourself to this. If you've been through a lot of stuff in your life, or just some stuff, this is a really cool thing, and it's a true story. With the lotus flower, it starts in a mucky like existence way down below in a pond or wherever the lotus pod is at. And the muckier and dirtier and grosser the water is, or the mud that its environment that it's sitting in, the dirtier that is, the more beautiful the flower. And I was like, that's it. We all come from, not all, but a lot of us come from some experiences or life where we feel like we have been through crap. I mean, just major crud, like, from the bottom of a pond, right? And if, what's interesting is that lotus flower doesn't stay stuck down in the mud. It comes up, the stem comes up, and it's seeking the light. Okay, so it's seeking the light, and then it gets to the top and it sees the sun, and it begins to bloom and prosper and grow and flower. And like I said, the muckier the water, the muckier that dirt, the more beautiful the flower. So don't let your past dictate to you that just because you came from a crappy environment, or a cruddy, mucky, or you've walked through a lot of muck and created a lot of muck for yourself, that your life, that your next step, that the next thing that's going to happen for you isn't going to be beautiful, because it's those experiences precisely that will make your life more beautiful when you use them for good for yourself. When you use those as lessons and experiences that you came here to have, that's when you can open up more and have empathy for others and compassion for yourself and compassion for others, and stop beating the heck out of yourself for where you're not, where you think you should be or could have been had you not done this or had they not done that, right? So just remember, your future is as bright and beautiful as you want it to be when you stay in the belief that it will open up and it will prosper and it will flower, or that it is doing that. I like to speak in present tense, so let's say is and not will, maybe. But to hold on to that hope, because this is where a lot of people get lost, is when they do lose hope. So I just want to leave you with that. If you're going through something, breathe, okay? If you've been going through something or you've had a lot of stuff happen in your past, know that that's not you. Those were just experiences that you've had, that you've come here to learn and grow from, and use them for good, for yourself and for those around you. So I hope that this has helped. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. Of course, if you like and subscribe, I would love that as well, as I'm beginning to put my following together here. And anyway, I wish you a wonderful next year here. We're still in January. And if you would like to reach out, I will put my contact information down below so that you can call and we can do a free 30-minute discovery session. And this could be about business or life and mindset type of stuff. So whatever it is along those lines, I'm here for you. So I hope this helped, and have a wonderful rest of your day.